Christmas is all around me, and so the feeling
in my fingers.
I feel it in my toes.
Love is fuck.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, that guy is so funny.
Welcome to the first of our 2 end-of-the-year Christmas special films here on Season 4 of 3.5 Gentlemen, the podcast, where 3 of the 4 hosts provide a refined and intellectual analysis of movies from our private collections, and one of us tries desperately to keep up. We'll let you decide which host is which, but for now, my name is Sean, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts. Jeremiah.
What up, yo? Where the fuck is my fucking coat?
Eddie.
I don't know which one to do. I feel it in my fingers. I feel it in my toes.
And Brandon.
And Sean, just remember, I'll be hanging around the mistletoe, hoping to be kissed by you saucy minx.
Oh.
You saucy minx.
Oh, you saucy minx.
Christmas is
I bet you
all
didn't have trouble
around
like this,
me,
did you, you saucy
and
minx?
so the feeling grows.
Can we just go ahead, before we start, can we just say that Hugh Grant is a goddamn national treasure, whatever nation you're a part of? I love Hugh Grant.
I am so excited to see him as an Oompa Loompa, even if that movie burns.
Oh, it's going to burn.
I heard it's actually gotten really good reviews
really
so far.
good reviews.
They say that
What
Timothée
movie?
Chalamet
What
is
movie?
magical and perfect, and I'm like, okay.
What's new?
Well, I really
I
want.
love Hugh Grant. I loved Hugh Grant in Paddington, too.
He was in Paddington too?
Oh, he was.
Part 2.
He was amazing.
He was in Paddington.
Paddington is a good
Also.
movie. We should be doing that
Go-
next season.
Go ahead, Eddie.
With season 4, we're picking movies that we think will be fun to talk about. Some of these were from our private collections, while others will be new releases in theaters.
As with every review we give, our goal is to answer one simple question: how many drinks does it take to get through the film that we just watched? Now, at the end of the podcast, we'll rate the movie based on a scale of 0 to 5. 0 being a perfect film that you can watch stone cold sober, and 5 being sort of the film that makes you feel like all your hopes and dreams of love have been shattered. Sounds like you got that wintertime sadness there, Brandon.
Doesn't it sound like this entire movie? Like, we need to get this out of the way now. This is the most depressing fucking holiday movie in the world.
Oh, clearly you have not seen The Family Stone. With that, what movie do we have running through terminals toward the love of our lives tonight, gentlemen?
That's a good
Oh, that was a
addition
good
there.
one.
Yeah, I
Good
like how you
job.
did that. Anyway, tonight we have the beloved, the Richard Curtis directed holiday film, 2003's Love Actually. Love Actually tells the sometimes intersecting stories of 8 different people living in London during the 5 weeks leading up to Christmas. From the new prime minister of the country to a normal nuclear family, love, infidelity, hope, and regret are all examined in the film. Love Actually stars a who's who of British actors and actresses and the one American Laura Linney. Love Actually has earned an IMDb rating of 7.6 out of 10 and has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 64% with the critics and an audience score of 72%. Which, I got to be honest,
They need to check themselves right now.
I'm pretty.
No, they need to check themselves right
I'm
now.
pretty okay
This
with
is a
that.
fucking masterpiece.
I would disagree.
This is a goddamn masterpiece.
Listen, this is not Young Frankenstein, but this is not a great movie.
as
Wait,
with every movie
time
that we
out.
review.
Before we go to our favorite drink, the one person that gets a shout out of all the actors is Laura Linney.
Laura-
We no
she's-
Hugh Grant, no
yeah,
Emma Thompson,
because
no
she's the
Alec
one
Rickman,
American.
no
She's
Bill
the
Nighy.
one-
Yeah, Martin Freeman, Liam damn Neeson.
They're all
I
European.
remember
Academy
Denise
got-
Richards was
They're all
there.
European.
Nope, Denise Richards was there.
Alicia Cuthbert is
Oh, she did that.
Canadian.
They
Alicia
walk in
Cuthbert.
from a bar. My God.
That counts,
Shannon
bro.
Elizabeth
She's
walks
Canadian.
walks into the
Let me
airport.
just tell you, Shannon Elizabeth is part of one of the greatest movies ever made, American Pie. No, I'm just saying Laura Linney is a goddamn American classic.
No. As with every movie that we review, we try to pair our selection with a cocktail that we hope will enhance the viewing experience. Ed, can you take
Yes, sir.
us through tonight's cocktail that I think we've already been imbibing?
Yes.
So here we go.
Yes,
Do it,
yes,
Ed.
yes. Yes. Tonight we're enjoying the Love Actually cocktail brought to us by InShaker.com. For this drink, you'll need to take 12 spoonfuls or also 0.75 of a cup. I don't know why Brandon said 12 spoonfuls of tangerine puree into a mixing glass.
Puree,
Net-
but you're
Puree,
good.
but
Yeah.
we could do.
Next,
you could
pour in
it.
a You also spelled spoonful wrong. So
No,
don't
it's
worry
actually
about that.
correct. It's not
No, the S does
spoonfuls.
not go there.
It's
I looked it up.
spoonsful. It is.
Bro, I looked it up. It's not spoonsful. It's
It is.
spoonsful. It's just spoonful.
It's like
No, there's no S.
passers-by. It's not passerbys.
Nets, pour in half an ounce of honey syrup, 3/4 of an ounce of vanilla vodka, 2.5 ounces of brut champagne of Prosciutto.
Or Prosecco.
I love to
Prosciutto too, if you want Prosciutto. Fill the mixer with ice and it's no S there, bro. I looked it up.
It is.
And mix it with ice and stir gently. Strain it into a flute. Really? Enjoy as you watch all your hopes and dreams of love either come true or come crashing down around you.
I don't know why you see come crashing down. Everyone falls in love at the end of the movie. It's a happy fucking movie.
It's the most depressing
Except for
movie.
that one guy who was in love with
they're-
in Keira Knightley. Other than him, everyone's happy.
No, because
Happy,
everybody's
happy.
cheating on each other. It's the most horribly
No, one
unromantic
person
movie.
is cheating on
No,
one person.
No, Keira Knightley basically.
Let's
talk
save
about
it for that. Let's save it for that thread.
I think you need
Let's save it for that
13
thread, but let's jump into
spoonsful
this
of puree.
wonderful-
I'm sending you something right now, Brandon. This time you're wrong. Bro.
Hey, Brandon, I have to say it's not a spoonful of sugar, bitch. It's a spoonful of sugar.
I know,
It
but
helps
there's
the
12 of
medicine
them.
go
Why
down.
12
talking about
spoonsful?
I'm talking
Why-
about plural.
Why not just do like 3/4 of a cup,
Because
bro?
In Shaker has it as 12 spoons full.
All right, here we go. I think we should start off with
Who our
kinda where
favorite
they
is.
started off in the movie
okay.
with Bill Nighy's character. Okay, who's your favorite? Who's your favorite couple? Let's start with Jeremiah. Jeremiah, who's your favorite couple of all of the Love Actually threads?
Wow, we're going right into this.
Let's do it.
I think we have to.
I wrote this down. It has to be Billy and his manager. I think that's one of the most adorable friendship. And it doesn't have to be love.
Love
It's
is
a friendship,
life,
or it
yeah.
could be love. But there is something about knowing there's a person that's with you through your ups and downs and through the worst times and the best time, knowing that that person is always going to be there. That's a friend, that's a family, that's a loved one. And I think that is a beautiful scene when Billy tells that guy, like, you ought to be the fucking love of my life. And I love that fucking scene. So I'm with that
Well
one.
said.
That's my favorite love story in the one.
Oh, Ed, what about you?
Keira Knightley and Adam Lincoln.
Andrew Lincoln.
Andrew Lincoln. Sorry, I said Adam Lincoln. My bad. Andrew Lincoln and Keira Knightley. I was
So
enjoying
the one
them.
that's not a couple. The
Yeah,
only one that
exactly.
doesn't get together in the whole movie. That's your favorite. Okay.
But the way he shot his shot, it was like, bro, just a bat stab in his best friend's
No,
back.
and then he
but
fucking
like,
walks
it was-
off as like, that's enough. Bullshit. This movie.
He also showed up randomly on this trip, like just like, oh, I'm just here with my. Yeah, no, but that was a cool little like, hey, I'm playing this and I'm just read this, and it was cool. It was a cool little. I liked it.
It did feel kind of stalkerish,
Stalkerish,
like you and
100%.
shit, you know?
She
No,
liked
I'm
him
giving
first.
that marriage 5 months, is what we're saying.
She
Well,
liked
I
him
mean, they're
first,
young.
yeah.
Nope. They're
Love
still married.
sticking.
They're still
Let's
married.
see who's
actually.
next. Who's next? Though?
All right, Brandon.
Okay, so I just want to say real quick, if you're saying there's only one couple that doesn't get together and so it's not a depressing movie, Laura Linney's entire existence is the most depressing thing in the entire movie. But that being said, the porn couple, I
She's
think
in
that
love
they're
with
adorable.
Carl.
Yeah, I know. And then she gives up her Carl because she's got obligations, and that's heartbreaking. We'll talk about that. But are you kidding me? The porn couple, not because it's porn couple, because it is literally the beginning of Frodo Baggins' existence. I know it's his uncle, but Jesus Christ, we saw Bilbo falling in love.
Wait, time out. They weren't a porn couple. They were just stand-ins.
No, they're
actually.
stand-ins.
Yeah, they were a fluffer couple.
Absolutely.
so-
Stand-ins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, absolutely. But I mean, what else are you going to call them?
My favorite couple, without a doubt, is Colin Firth and the Portuguese girl. I think that love story from start to finish is the most complete, and I think it's hysterical when they're talking to each other and neither of them have any idea what the other is saying,
But
and
they're
they're
saying the same
talking
thing.
as though they're having the same goddamn conversation.
Yeah, that's a
I
good
think
one.
it's wonderful and beautiful, and some of the best writing ever. Anyway, so let's start with Billy Mack, and let's one of the things that I think unifies this story, which is kind of vignettes of different relationships and different people in London during the 5-week period before Christmas, is Billy Mack's song, because you have that song playing throughout everybody's love story, and he's on the TV in the background, and you have this ridiculous yet very like you're on his side very quickly when he wants to beat Blue, the boy band. And it's to me, I fell in love with him when he's on that radio interview, but then when he's on the TV interview and he's like, I have for the winner of a felt tipped pen that you can write on. And it's like that scene and that, I mean, this is Bill Nighy at his, to me, is tip top. And I don't remember him before this. Anyone remember him before this?
I do remember him before this. In about 3 months before this movie came out, he was the vampire leader in Underworld.
Okay.
That was my first introduction to him.
That's where I was.
And then
where the hell
when
did
you
I
see him, you're just like, oh, this guy's adorable. And then Richard Curtis, the director, I mean, he's done a lot of great movies and a lot of great, writing. I mean, he pretty much reinvented the whole British rom-com when you think about it.
Yeah.
Notting Hill, Bridget Jones' Diary, and did your favorite movie, About Time, with Bill Nighy.
Okay.
you're right.
Also,
So
let's not
that
forget
too.
one of the best movies that is so underrated. It's a gem. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it. It's Pirate Radio. Anybody see that one? Jeremy, oh my God, Jeremy.
did
I
see that
have.
one.
Yeah, I have.
That's a
That's
good
a
one.
classic. That's another
That's a good
Richard
one.
Curtis.
Well, and I do think that Bill Nighy had a meteoric rise from this
Oh, yeah.
performance. I think that he's turned into one of the most exciting actors in Hollywood, and he's fizzled out a little bit, after 20 years. But I mean, think about it. He was in Pirates of the Caribbean. He was in Harry Potter.
Mhm.
He
He was in Harry Potter?
Yeah, he was Scrimgeour. He was the prime minister at the very end in the last movie, and he showed the Davos's will. And I do agree with Jeremiah. He said it beautifully. His relationship with his manager, it was very strained, but also very funny. And I just like the honesty of the character. I think that of all the characters in this movie, this is one of the most like honest portrayals of an aging rocker just trying to hold on to one more hit. I mean,
But he hates this fucking song. You can tell he hates this fucking song. He's just right.
it's
Why
Stone
can't I just do
Cold shit?
It's that Christmas song that you can tell that they have history. I do like, Jeremy, you picked that's the first relationship there, and I think all of us kind of can attach to that because we're all like two guys and we love each other in a different way. And the manager, he didn't realize, oh hey, you know what, it felt good at the very end. I'm jumping ahead, but it felt good at the very end to see the manager. He felt appreciated. It's like, what, I thank you. It meant a lot.
Of all the success and glory, I mean, he didn't want to like go out and like just get shit faced or fuck up or like hook up with anybody. He wanted to share that moment with his manager. He wanted to share it with his, I would say, his only best friend, the one person that means a lot to him. And during the holidays, this is the first time I've seen this in this way. I'm like, fuck, I think of you guys, like fuck,
Right,
if there's something that's happening successful, either I'm going to share with Hannah or I'm going to share with you guys. And that's the feeling I got here.
And I love how they kind of they brought this first vignette. I don't know what to call them. This first character study, and then they all of a sudden merge it with a funeral and a wedding at the very beginning of the movie. And to me, it's almost like they've introduced. They were just introducing the characters at first blush. You had the wonderful the wedding scene where you have the band playing in the audience, and it was unexpected and cool. And then you cut to a very dramatic scene with Liam Neeson,
Sad.
and he is burying his wife, and then you interpose that with Colin Firth, his wife cheating on him with his brother. So it's
horrible.
like you've got so much going on in the first 10 minutes of the movie, but it does such a beautiful job, and then it slows down, it takes a breath, and it really starts to let you to dive into the characters. Brandon.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm going to go ahead and give props to this movie. Because the thing that I do like about it is that it gives a clear kind of overview of different relationships. And like you said, there are so many different things. It's nice that they're not all cookie cutter the same thing. And I think that that's something that we kind of expect. For some reason, when I was talking about this with Amanda, and we were talking about all the movies that were kind of coming out at the same time, and we're talking about He's Just Not That Into You and Valentine's Day, and they were all kind of these same ideas of these different portraits of different couples, and with those ones, everybody ends up happy for the most part, right? With this one, not everybody ends up happy, and I think that this is really a good portrayal
Honest.
of real life. It's honesty. It's real life. I mean, I think that if we're talking about who is not my favorite character, but the character that I found myself most focused on, it is Laura Linney's character, because it's so tragic and it's so hardcore and it hurts so much, the sacrifice that she makes and the reality that so many people live her life where they sacrifice their own dreams and their own goals for the people around them.
It's funny that you focus on Laura Linney, whose brother's kind of in the home and dealing with some, it seems like some schizophrenia or something like that. And he constantly calls her. But I think it's funny that you focus on that relationship, because I find that way down on the list of ones that I find interesting and compelling. I think that, and this is just personal, I'm not bagging on you, I'm just saying, I find the relationship with Alan Rickman and Emma Thompson, the fact that he's getting pulled away from his wife by someone who is viciously attacking a married man, knowingly trying to disrupt a marriage. Yeah. I think that one is very interesting. Yeah. I think that the relationship, obviously my favorite is the Portuguese girl and Colin Firth, where he's writing his novel, where this is new love, fresh love. It's, I don't know. There's something about the spark of what you will do for love that, to me, that is the impetus of the movie, is what will you do for love? Yeah. Yes. I will learn the drums and, break into an airport. I will bury you at the Bay City Rollers. Like, I will do these things for love. And that, I think that's kind of the question that the movie sets up. And I think each one knocks it down in a different way. Yeah. Go ahead, Ed. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, that you're perfect. I mean, most of every different relationship there, you see some type of a different form of love, right? You have like the Liam Neeson and his stepson Sam, right? And you have two friendships, and you have multiple, the prime minister and his secretary that you instantly know there's a connection there. But the one I also I thought it wasn't love, and it took away from the movie personally. I thought it was Alan's, the whole backstory of Alan's character. I thought I didn't care for it, and almost wished it wasn't part of the movie. It wasn't. It took away. Like I wish they would have, with how much history they have between them. I almost wish it would have been cool to see a little twist of like, what? Sometimes love takes a little damage, and you go through therapy, or sometimes, or you go through marriage couple therapy, something like that. It would have been cool to twist it a little bit and be like, what, we're working through it. And instead, though, they just like broke up, and now it's just like they're what he fell for was lust.
No, you think Eddie, they broke up?
No, Eddie, you're wrong.
I think they did break up. I think they did break up.
No, I don't. I don't think they broke up.
Yeah. I thought they broke up. They're making it work. Yeah, okay, then
it's not a happy home. But what they were saying, like they're making it work, but it's no.
What was he doing?
Household.
Yeah.
Well, why was he flying back home?
So hold on. I think we all could agree on that was a cheat.
Yes, right.
I don't think he fucked her. I don't think he did anything untoward.
No,
but at the same time, I think that there is a division in that marriage now that needs to be repaired. And I think both parties, if you watch the subtext, I think that they play it off beautifully, is that he knows he screwed up, she knows he screwed up, and they're going to put on the face of marriage, because this is sometimes what marriage costs, and they're going to find a way forward.
Was that 1 year later? Did I say 1 year later?
Yeah. He was just coming home from the airport. He was on a business trip, or
Okay.
Yeah. So when he was coming home, though, there was definitely a coldness, but it was still acceptance. It was still, we're a family and we're moving forward.
See, I took it as like he is coming home for the holidays and his kids haven't seen him in a while, and this is dad. So, and it was just like, hey, I'm home for the holidays type thing, and he's separated from his wife.
I get where you're coming from. I don't think that's the case, but I get where you're coming from for there.
But we don't know that for a fact. You could be right, Ed, but that's not how I took it. Jeremy, is that how you took it?
They're together, but it's not what it used to be,
Okay.
That they're going to be there for their kids, but they have a long road recovery.
Yeah.
It's still happening.
I wish they would have shown something more with that. Like that.
I hear what you're saying. I mean, like, dude, what's crazy about the film is like, I feel like the director is like making like 10 separate fucking movies, right?
Yeah.
And somehow he's able to manage it all to come together. So it's a tough fucking,
and
it's
I will
a tough
say,
way, dude.
I will say this is a very English movie. And English script writing, English stories, and they don't give you the payoff like American stories where you have resolution. It's more of like very subtle. It's very a nod.
It's kind of like slice of life.
A smile.
Yeah.
It is. It's English particular, and that's English culture as well. They're not emotional people. So they're not like overly.
Yeah.
They're not overly resolutory.
But however, our listeners in Britain and everything like
We
we
love
love
you.
you so much,
We
you know.
love
So
you.
let us know.
Well, I wasn't saying
Let me just
negative.
tell you
I wasn't
something.
saying
No,
I love Hugh Grant.
You guys want to
I
act
love
negative.
Hugh Grant.
Do you wanna know a fun
Hugh
fact?
Grant
Also-
could be
but
the
we
prime
know-
minister. I think he'd be the prime minister.
We're very sensitive over here.
No,
but
listen,
we love you guys.
Listen, my
No, but-
fun fact about Brandon. My favorite city, my favorite place in the entire world is London. That's actually a true story. Sean, I know that you differ with me, but London is where it's at. So listen, Londoners, if you want me to come out and I high five you, I will happily do that. Yeah, I just want to throw in real quick that I am by no means am I condoning what Alan Rickman did, but it's weird because this is only the second time I've seen it. I'm remembering back to the first time I saw it, which was when it first came out on Blockbuster, and I rented it and didn't like it. And but the whole time, like for the last 20 years, I have been in my mind thinking that he did a full on cheating affair and had been going on with physical for months and months and months.
Yeah.
I've had completely forgotten that he was pulled so like you're right, Sean, viciously away by it. It really makes you question the whole situation, because he does give in, and that is something that is absolutely horrible, but he gives in with a lot of resistance. Like he tries really hard, and then it's that one gift. And again, not condoning what he did by any means, but I think it's an interesting thing that Richard Curtis could have easily have said, oh yeah, he's banging the secretary and has been for the last 6 months. But instead, it makes us care a lot more for his character, and really resonates, I think, with that idea that we're always, so many different people are pulled in so many different directions. And what happens if you give into it just for a second? And it has those resounding ripple effects, Sean.
And take a moment to consider the gift that he got his wife. He got his wife the musician that unlocked her cold English heart. That's what she said. Joni Mitchell taught your cold English wife how to feel. So it's almost like he was reaching out through Joni Mitchell,
And he was
saying,
meeting her on her level.
Right. And I think that there's an element there, and I'm not saying she deserves blame, but I think marriage has a percentage interest in cheating. If a spouse is cheating, there is a reason the spouse is cheating. And he could be a piece of shit. He could be the worst person in the world, and it could be 100% his fault. But it could also be because the wife is failing in some way to show affection or to do something, and the husband is failing too. They're failing together in their
I
marriage.
think that's the whole point of
they're
marriage,
definitely
is it's
both
a mutual thing. Yeah.
And what I'm saying that's not he's got to be stronger than that. It's his responsibility as a married person to be stronger than that.
I had a question about this one character. He's in the movie once in a while and everything, and that's Rowan
backpacker.
Atkinson, right?
Oh God, what a magnificent performance!
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
Is he supposed to be the guardian angel in this story? Like he's able to change the course of fate. Is that supposed to be from ours? I'm just asking because I still haven't figured this one out.
No, originally written, he was an angel. And he was going to disappear at the end after he helps to distract the security guard. And so I got to be honest. I wish to God that they had kept that aspect, because I don't care. Bring in a little bit of It's a Wonderful Life. Go for that, because it makes so much sense as to why he's taking so damn long wrapping the gift. Like he's giving
Exactly
Rickman's character so many chances to get out of it, right? And then at the end, when he is, there's no reason that he just shows up at the airport and starts like, oh, I can't find my ticket, blah 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 blah. Right? I wish that they had kept that scene in to make him the guardian angel, or the angel of relationships or love, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that was the original, right? The original script had basically had him walk away and basically disappear and say, ooh, he's an angel looking over each one of these characters.
That makes sense now, because I was wondering about that too, because it seemed like he was trying to delay Rickman, he's like taking his time, but in my mind, he's like, hey, fucking stop what you're trying to do here,
Yeah.
So I'm going to dive a little deeper into that when he's putting the package together and the finishing flourish. Do you remember what it was?
Cinnamon
It
sprig.
was a holly plant.
Damn it.
cinnamon sprig.
No, it was a holly.
Cinnamon.
It was a sprig of holly, and he's wearing gloves. And the holly is fucking poisonous. So he's actually putting
Fucking
something
A,
of poison into this. So I think that first of all, Rowan Atkinson is one of the most underrated actors in the history of all. If you want to see Rowan Atkinson at his absolute peak, it is the Olympics.
Johnny English. Oh,
Probably 1992. No,
Yes.
the Olympics 1992, and they're playing Chariots of Fire, and he's on the piano of Chariots of Fire, and he's checking his cell phone, and he switches fingers, and it is the most like hilarious 3 minutes of all television. This guy
agreed.
is brilliant. He was actually the first choice to play Voldemort, which
Really?
I thought
Oh,
would have
wow.
been very interesting. Very
Interesting.
interesting.
He's always
he
Mr.
is-
Bean to me. That I can't
Mr.
get
Bean.
Mr. Bean out
Yeah.
of
He's,
it, dude.
well,
Right.
yeah. He always talks about, he was like Graham Norton, and he talked about how he runs into this guy, and he goes, you look like the spitting image of that Mr. Bean. He's,
Don't get
Do
him
I?
mixed up with Monk, right? Monk is the other one. That,
no, Monk is Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was gonna say. So he had when he showed up in the very end. I was like, how does he know Liam Neeson? Did I miss something in this movie?
right. And then he
Maybe,
gives
like,
Liam
question.
Neeson's character kind of a raised eyebrow look.
Not.
So I wish that they
Yeah,
kept that
yeah.
in. I mean, I don't know. It would have taken away from the idea that this is a snapshot of life in real life.
Because that's what you.
But damn it, that makes me
That's
happy.
what you need in this movie. More characters.
That's true.
For a moment, though, did anyone else feel for a moment they got lost in this movie? Though,
Yes.
Like there's tiny moments in this movie. I was just like, oh god, I don't know, dragging or
It's
It was
too
the pacing.
It's
So the
too scattered. I think.
Yeah,
yeah.
There's too many pieces.
that's what it is, dude.
And Jeremy, you said the same thing. There's too many moving pieces here.
It is, because the director pretty much said, like, this film is his Pulp Fiction. He had, at the beginning when he wrote this movie, he had 14 different love stories. 14 different love stories, and they had to throw out at least 4 of them. So you basically only had like 10 love stories throughout the film. And there's actually one love story film that I wish they would have kept. They actually filmed it where it was a love story between, it was a headmistress of the school where the children go to and her alien wife that she goes home to and spends the last Christmas with her, and she ends
Damn,
up
that would've
dying
been
throughout
amazing.
at the end of the film. That would have been fucking great to see, and I wish I would have kept that. But you're right, dude. It's too much stories, but
Right.
luckily in the end, it somehow we're able to actually kind of like, I guess, land it in a way to make it kind of like, oh,
It
okay.
does. I know. I do want to.
I think you could have cut out. Sorry, I think you could have cut out Colin's storyline.
That's my least
I
favorite
thought that
one,
was
yeah.
a stupid
Yeah.
storyline.
Yeah.
As much as I love the porn couple, as much as I absolutely
completely
love them,
pointless.
you could have cut them
Absolutely.
out. They did not. They didn't connect with anyone else.
like, why were they at the school play? Did they know anyone at the school play? It made me
That's the
question
thing.
that.
They
Yeah,
all
so
are
that was-
related to each other in some weird way that we don't know.
So I think that Martin Freeman, his brother, is one of the people, like one of the cast, like one of the main cast.
Like this teachers or something, or they were
Yeah, I
actually-
don't know. It was
Oh.
it was kind of hard to follow, but it seemed like one of the main cast's brother was Martin Freeman.
Yeah.
So let's move on to Liam Neeson's character, and I think that this, once again, we explore a different type of love, a different type of relationship. You have his love of his stepson Sam, played absolutely brilliant, wonderfully. This actor is, to me, one of the greatest child actors of all time.
He's done really a lot of good work, as
He's
an
been in Lord
adult.
of the Rings and or
Game of
excuse me, Lord
Thrones.
the Rings, excuse me. He was in Game of Thrones, but his to me one of his better roles was in a miniseries called The Queen's Gambit,
Oh.
where he played a very kind of arrogant chess player. He was very good in that. But I thought that this dynamic was so fresh, having Liam Neeson, with a child that's not necessarily his, but loves him just the same, worried about him, living and breathing with the loss of his wife, and no one does grief better than Liam Neeson. And to move in Emma Thompson and to give him that sounding board a little bit here and there. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts on this?
Jeremy first.
This vignette.
This is my favorite story out of all of them. I love the fact that he's carrying his wife's legacy, you know, for his stepson. But I also like he's taking that parental role. You know, he's being a role model for his son. And I fucking love that. It takes a person to raise another person's son, you know, to do your best and shit.
I personally didn't like Liam Neeson's character until he was with Sam. If it made sense. Like, I just don't like him. I don't know. It's just something about they could have done a little bit different with his character personally. And maybe maybe I'm just not catching little vibes here, like what Sean was explaining right now. But overall, I enjoyed his character as soon as he became that step parent, and all of a sudden, like, I enjoyed, like, I feel like that his character grew fast as soon as he all of a sudden became the step parent and trying to help Sam, and he got connected again with his ex-wife this way, his
sister,
late wife, or his sister.
No, Emma Thompson's his sister.
No, I don't think
I'm
so.
sorry.
No,
his wife.
His wife died, right?
Emma Thompson is his sister.
No,
Yeah,
no,
because that would mean that he's also brothers with the prime minister.
His wife.
He's not brothers with the prime minister.
No, he's not.
Which is how it would be.
See,
Emma Thompson
wife
is
died.
his brother and sister with Hugh Grant, who's the prime minister.
Yeah.
I think we have to
his wife was
understand
who?
that Liam Neeson's
I think
character and
he's
Emma
just
Thompson
a
are
friend.
friends.
Yeah.
I completely apparently blocked it out from the first time I saw it. I was blown away, shocked when we find out that it's his stepson and not his real son. And I think that that's not like a pulling a fast one over us. I thought it was really a beautiful thing to see. And Jeremy, you kind of mentioned this too, but you don't have this relationship explored enough in film. And that is the adoptive parent who's caring and kind and loves the stepchild, right? It's always the evil stepmother, the evil stepfather, the one who's abusive, this, that, and the next thing. Isn't it nice and refreshing to just have a decent human being caring for somebody else like they are their own kid, even though they're not biologically? I just thought that it was a refreshing, nice thing that we don't see enough.
It's also refreshing to see that where he's just like questioning himself, like, fuck, am I fucking him up?
Yeah.
You know, like, is he okay? I mean, when he finds out that, you know, the kid's in love and he's not in drugs and shit and doing anything bad, he's like, oh my God, you know, and the kid's like, what are you talking about? That's the worst thing, to be in love.
Sean
has
got the family tree.
I mean, the total agony of being in love. So it's actually from a cursory look, it looked like Emma Thompson is the dead wife's sister.
Oh, that's so sad. The prime minister's
dead wife
sister just died. God damn it.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, can we move on to Hugh Grant?
I mean,
because he's a national treasure wherever soil he steps on.
I don't know if that's true, though. I don't know if that's true.
I could buy it.
So, let's talk about Hugh Grant.
God,
Hugh
he's
Grant,
amazing.
I loved Hugh Grant.
So he went toe to toe with Billy Bob Thornton, man. I liked it. I was like,
that speech. Oh, that speech.
At the same time, though, Sean, and I can ask you because you studied and have taught history and politics, and so I'm honestly coming to you as one person to an expert. Was that a smart political speech and position to make from Great Britain to America? Because I'm like, ooh, you just really, really stepped on some American toes.
So Tony Blair did it with I want to say Tony Blair did it with Clinton,
really,
where he kind of subverted him at the podium, where they thought their relationship was strong, and Tony Blair took a much stronger stance than Clinton was expecting. And they talk about I've read about it. Another person who did that constantly was Ronald Reagan. He would take a stronger stance Margaret Thatcher was strong, just period, all the time. And you can't be that person and anyway.
Now I want to just go ahead though and say that if we're talking about just characters and what character I just found myself liking, and liking because like I could see myself falling in like with that person. It is I don't know her name, but the secretary. I thought that she was beautifully portrayed. Natalie was literally just so sweet and so cute and so bubbly and so when she first meets him and she starts dropping fuck here and left and right, I could have said fuck and really in love with her. Right? You can't help but love that character. And I think that what it was a really great pairing between the two. I don't think that we have a ton of great pairings. As much as Sean, you like the Portuguese and Colin Firth relationship, I don't like the Colin Firth storyline. To me, it's just too implausible. It's just too far removed. I get the idea of how far would you go? You'd learn an entire new language for her and then parade through the towns of France or whatever. I love that. But at the same time, I thought that the relationship made more sense when you have this kind of uppity politician falling for this, this no-named secretary. But not in a Clintonian way,
Goal.
Are you allowed to do that? I'm just out of question.
Even
is
from
that
the very beginning, he said kind of like, "Oh God, this I never expected this to happen." Right?
yeah.
For the first moment, he was like, "Shit, I know this is not gonna be appropriate." So the rule is, if you're single in the workplace, you're not supposed to date any of your junior people, right?
He
That's the
moved her.
general rule.
He
So
moved her out today.
I mean,
Yeah.
you work in HR, Jeremiah. You know, or you used to at least. You know how volatile employees are with emotions and relationships. This would have been. I mean, I would think the Clinton White House would have been vastly different if you had today's standards.
Yeah, this is why I say you don't shit where you eat.
But a lot of times, if you're equals and you want to, in a relation, you start a relationship, they make you sign, or they used to make you sign this love contract, where basically it absolves the company of any liability for two coworkers falling in love.
Oh, come on. If you
just
ever
like
watched The
The
Office,
Office,
that's all Toby did,
Michael.
right? Yeah, exactly.
Office. It's
Yeah.
Office.
It was the Michael and Jan situation.
That's all Toby did.
Yeah, and I think
Michael and
that
Holly.
is.
It's a Michael and Holly, right?
I think, yeah, Michael and Holly. I think that standard has gone by the wayside. I don't think they make you do that very much anymore.
I heard that Hugh Grant didn't like dancing in this movie. Like, he literally fucking did not want to do that scene when he's just like dancing throughout.
he's so
the
fucking
made the
house.
movie.
Good.
I know, right? He's so
I want to
great.
say that what the movie took an upturn in my eyes as soon as Hugh Grant got those letters and he was reading the Christmas letter from Natalie. After then, it just took off for me, and I enjoyed it because I enjoyed when Hugh Grant was going through the neighborhood, knocking on the doors. That made me
That was great.
That was awesome
That
seeing
was
there.
that was
And then
fun.
they went to the play, and then it just started getting a little bit more positive, and I think it was wrapping up the love scenes and seeing the end of what was about to happen.
The crescendos were the best
Conclusion.
part.
Yeah.
Where you had the like. I mean, I know you guys don't like the Colin Firth Portuguese love story, but when he's walking through the town and the music is swelling, and they're searching for her at the restaurant.
He almost bought
and
his
he
sister.
can't speak.
He almost bought her sister by accident.
Yeah. He can't speak Portuguese worth of shit. She can't speak English worth of shit. And they're trying to say, I love you, or that, he's got this whole speech planned out. But backing up to that relationship, Brandon, you had mentioned that it was implausible. I think what I love about that relationship is that he has just been defeated by love. His wife fucked his brother.
Yeah, that's
He is like at a low. He goes to this cabin to write his novel. And it's a murder novel, which I thought was hysterical, by the way. And I mean, they've got these interactions, and better than anyone. When we were playing baseball, being around someone every day, the daily weights and the daily stretching and the daily practice, it made you familiar with people, and it made you fall in love with the people that were around you, or fucking hate the people that you were
Very
around.
true.
But even in the
So I
mornings
think
afterward,
this-
the breakfast afterwards, all of a sudden,
Right. Of all the love stories, I thought this was the most practically beautiful because it was proximity and it was interaction every day that created this. When she says the worst part of my day is leaving you, and he said the best part of my day is driving you home, that is one of it's a subtle, simple love. It's not this grand gesture. It's just this like love of proximity.
God damn
and
you,
I think
Sean.
that's kind of beautiful.
You did.
I'm
You
sorry. I think it's kinda
you
beautiful.
turned me on this one. I think I'd go ahead and say doesn't affect my score.
And my
but
favorite
Jesus
scene
Christ.
in the whole movie is when the wind picks up and she delivers his tea, and all the pages go into the water.
and they're both. She's talking shit
like-
this whole time, and she's like, "Who doesn't make
Yeah, he was,
copies,
What
bro?
do I got?
This better
This
not be
better
a."
be worth it. He's like, oh, it's rubbish. No, it's not worth saving. I really should make copies.
That
I hope
made me
there's
laugh.
no eels in here. Watch out for the eels.
Yeah. I love the fact that this movie was able to showcase two different leagues here. Like, hey, you have like the stars, which is like the known actors like Thompson, Grant, Rickman, Firth, Neeson, Laura Linney,
The
but
up and
then
comers too, Knightley.
you have the uppercomers, but now they are like
They're the
on
stars,
that league,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like you literally see them like, they are the actors now. So I think it's pretty fucking cool just to witness that, that's something really important to see.
I want to talk about one more thing before we wrap up. What about the music? Because I found the music to be some of the most compelling, beautiful music. Maybe it was repetitive for people for that da 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 da. It swelled and it made you fall in love so much. Like it made when he's running through that damn airport and they have that look like Sam's gonna make a run for it, and the music swells, and it's just beautiful. I'm sorry.
Just also the choice of the songs, like Beach Boys God Only Knows is like one of my favorite top 10 songs of all time, and it just fits the fucking movie perfectly. Just the words and just how much it means so much, not just being with you, but just appreciating you and everything like that. They know how to put the songs perfectly well on certain scenes. I thought that was pretty fucking cool.
And Eddie was saying like the pacing got better toward the end when they started to wrap up the storylines. And I think that 90% of it is the music. 90% is this concept that like when the prime minister is going to find Natalie, you have this swelling, the music, everything is happening. Everybody is finally coming together and you're realizing love. And I think that I think that this movie is poorly paced in the middle, but god dang it if you don't need the middle to get to the end. So it's hard for me to criticize the slow middle to get to what I think you're wrapping up 8 storylines quite beautifully and
they
quite
had a good
well.
soundtrack too. I'm looking at their soundtrack overall besides the movie. Like they pretty good list of
Mariah
songs.
Carey's that song's like
All
legendary.
I Want for Christmas Is You.
Jesus Christ! Every time I hear that song, I think of this movie all the time. Like it doesn't not even one verse. Like, this is the song. This is the movie here. Did you guys see that Red Nose sequel of this movie? Like it happened in 2017.
I saw that it was made, but I've not seen it.
So it kind of tells you like what happens to some of these characters, like a check-in and everything like that. It's pretty interesting. I was reading this, so it shows that David, the prime minister, and Natalie are still together, which is awesome. The kids, they're engaged, which is pretty fucking adorable, right? Sarah, the one, Brandon, that you connected with during this movie.
Liddy, the most depressing character in the movie.
She found love. She finally found love.
Thank God.
From my understanding.
With who? With Carl?
Colin Firth and her what? And I don't know. Beats me, but she's happy. That's all we want to make sure she's happy for Christmas.
Does anyone else? I'm sorry to interrupt you, Jeremiah, but does anyone else think Rodrigo Santoro is drinking the blood? Because he has not aged in 25 fucking years. He looks just the same. The guy who was Carl was in Westworld. This guy looks fucking awesome, and he's got to be 50.
In 300, was he?
Oh yeah, he was Xerxes in 300. This guy looks. He looks just as hot as he did in this movie.
But so does Gael Garcia Bernal. I mean, they're
man.
all that crew of Latin lovers are just fucking beautiful people. And I love them and would love them.
Don't forget Diego. Don't forget Diego.
No.
Diego Bonita.
Oh my God.
And by the way, Sean, Colin Firth and his wife have a family now too, so that's pretty happy.
Oh, that makes me happy. Anyone get divorced?
No. But I think Mark, from my understanding, Mark, the Starker guy, he actually ends up with Kate Moss or something like that.
Oh, wow. So, did Liam Neeson get married to Claudia Schiffer?
I don't know, but good thing he found Claudia Schiffer. Out of all these people, he's like, yeah.
Well, that was one of my favorite lines in the whole movie when he says, "We're gonna have sex in every room, so I'm gonna need you to move out."
Don't be such an arse. That brings us to the end of a review. Now it's time on the podcast where each of the hosts provides a score on the following scale. Billy Mack.
Yes. Hold on. Let me get my notes here.
Can you provide us a score?
Put in your toes.
You ready, guys? Who wants? I'm trying to think who will go first here. Zero, the perfect movie. Zero, the perfect movie. You don't need shit to
Great job. You're doing awesome.
1, it feel good for this. 1, a feel good first cocktail. 2, happy buzz. Brandon, you're going first, bro. 3, you're in the Uber lifting home. 4, rough morning walk of shame. 5, blackout shit face spring break drunk.
God damn it, Brandon!
Daily.
It's so hard to edit.
Who am I
dude.
gonna go daily?
No, I say you keep that shit
Brandon, I'm
in.
gonna go with you.
Keep that in. That's literally.
I can't.
Yes, you can.
Because it's a 5-second delay. He says something, he's 3 sentences on, and then your stupid comment comes in.
I bought a fucking router thing for you guys, and it's not working. Anyway,
Jesus.
Anyway, Jared, keep that in
Brandon.
because
Go ahead, Brandon.
that's our personality
Go
right
first.
there. Okay. Anyway, Ed, you
Let's
were
go, Hugh Grant.
literally Ed. You're the manager to my Billy Mac. Is really what you are. I just want you to know that. No, okay. So this is a tough one for me because there are parts of this movie that I really enjoy, and there's parts of this movie that I really, really don't like, and I wish that they'd done it differently. And this is, I would say that I'm a really big Richard Curtis fan. I love his writing. I love his directing. About Time and Pirate Radio, I think, are two of the most brilliant comedies in the last 15 years. I really honestly do. But this movie it doesn't hit for me. And it doesn't hit for really kind of the reason that we've talked about so many times, that there's so many different threads. And Sean, you said it too, is that or whoever it was, the pacing is off. It's not just the pacing is off, but the devotion to each of those characters, Ed thinks, is really off, right? I mean, let's talk about, I was joking earlier with the porn standing couple is not my favorite, but I think that they're the most like, what the fuck? They're the WTF characters. And it's like, why are they even in there? It's to get a quick laugh, I guess. But ultimately, they're completely pointless, and we rarely get them unless they're dry humping each other, and that's it, right? So I went through and I wrote down a couple of characters and storylines that literally the movie would have been better, in my opinion, if we had just kept them out. Laura Linney's character. It would have been better on the whole if her character wasn't there. Keira Knightley's character and the stalker Andrew Lincoln. Completely better movie if they're not there, because really they don't move the plot forward at all. Martin Freeman's character, I already said that, the porn standing couple, and then the kid that goes to America. Like, okay, that's a quick laugh, but ultimately it does nothing for the entire theme and driving theme of the movie. And yeah, I think that means we focus more on Hugh Grant's character and Alan Rickman's character, and we focus more on the dynamics that we have there, because those are brilliant storylines and those are brilliant characters, and I would love to see them fleshed out. And Liam Neeson and Sam, I think those are brilliant stories. So I'm really torn because I like what I have, but I also don't like what we have. And because of that, I don't think it's a bad movie, but I don't think it's a good movie. So I'm going to go right there in the middle. I'm going to say it's a 2. Oh, here it is. It's a 2.52. I'm going to say it's just a little bit shy of average film. I think it could have easily been in the 0.0s for me, or the 0 points for me, under 1, but it's just not there for me. So Eddie, I'm going to throw it back to you because I love you so much, my manager. But I'm going to give it a 2.52. I'm sorry, Sean.
No,
Okay.
I have no problem with your score. Just the actual score itself, it just seems ridiculous.
I only do that for Jeremy. It's just because I know it pisses him off.
I
know.
The two, I just don't fucking get it either.
Whatever you do, Sean, I want you to give 3 numbers. I want you to be like 1.7433. That's what I'm looking for from you.
Brandon, you're done. Hey, you're done. Okay, you had your moment. Okay.
You had your moment in the sun.
Okay. I feel like we're in the movie right now. There's all of us having our own little story, and just keeps going. So this movie does. I feel like you see a lot of movies that try to do this. I think it was New Year's Eve. I think it was New Year's Eve with like Zac Efron. I think Valentine's Day with like Ashton Kutcher and Bradley Cooper. And then there was this movie. I feel like this movie is probably the better out of the bunch that did it right. Everything tried to copy that after this. However, I don't think these movies with so many actors are good. People have their favorite characters, and that's where it gets troublesome with trying to find which story. Everyone wants to get more of a story plot of everyone. And, but it's also a little connection with all. So, the idea of this movie is really nice. And I really enjoyed how, there's love everywhere. as long as you just, even if you're not taking a look at it. I do like how Hugh Grant was, I think, narrating in the very beginning. He was talking about love. There's a lot of parts in this movie that I enjoyed a lot, but then also, just like I said, it was jumping around too fast for me. And I agree with Brandon. There's a bunch of places in this, characters in this movie I didn't like. I did like Keira Knightley and Andrew Lincoln, but overall, like, their story just didn't make sense. There was a reason, like, why, so she's just gonna cheat on her newly husband. That's weird, and that's his best friend there, so that was weird. But overall, I'm a big Hugh Grant fan. I have to give a nod to him. Overall, though, I agree very close to Brandon with this score. It's not a perfect movie, and it's something that I enjoy. This is probably my third time watching it. I'm giving this a 2.65. This is right below average movie for me. I think that's a very close score where I was agreeing with Brandon. So, Jeremiah.
Eddie, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
This is one of the cons with this podcast because it makes you like view a film and you see it in a different light. Because growing up, I fucking like worship this fucking movie, man. I liked it so much, and now I'm watching it.
Yeah.
I felt annoyed with some of the characters, which I felt like some of the stories just seemed very heartless, and it just didn't age well for me, However, there are stories in this movie that, my heart clings on to, and the most important thing about this movie is the actors are so fucking wonderful in this movie, man. It's the best reason to watch this movie because you're watching a moment of greatness of these beautiful actors. There's a scene and there's no words. It's just a scene where you're looking at the audience and you see Rickman, Thompson, and Neeson, and they're smiling at each other, talking to each other. And there was a moment of like, fuck, I wish I could have been there just to hear what they were saying here, because it was just such a lovely scene to see those greatness, those fucking like amazing fucking people in that moment right there. And I wish I could have seen more about that, dude. But the most important thing about this film is this, man, is the overall message. It's about love. It's about friendship. It's about family that surrounds us every single fucking moment. Everything that we do is so infinite, and it's always right in front of us, dude. And that's the important message about this film that actually showcases so much, dude. It's right in front of you. Do not miss it. Do not miss that moment because, you only get that one time when you have each other and shit. So it's not a great movie, dude. But, it's not a shite either, But I'm with you guys, dude. To me, this was a 2.75. It's not a rough morning walk of shame or anything like that. It's not an Uber or anything like that. But it's kind of like, you know what? I'm going to have a few drinks. I'm just going to walk home in the winter cold storm through Christmas night, It's just not what I thought it was, man. Maybe I'm just older and
Wiser.
So you're right. You're right. You're a happy buzz with almost a third drink. You're right below Ubering. You're walking home.
Most of the stories I didn't care about, but talking to Sean, listening to you guys and everything, it brought my score down because, like, there's a lot of great things about this movie that I just wish there was more to it.
I was at a 5 a little bit, and then Liam Neeson brought me down 1, and then Hugh Grant brought me down 1, and then you guys brought me down a lot.
Sean, wrap it up, dude.
So I look at this movie from a couple of different perspectives. The first is as a Christmas movie, and I think that as a Christmas movie, for the the criteria being heartfelt, something that gets you in the Christmas spirit, something that gets you a little emotional, that makes you love some characters, and really does give you a good Christmas feeling. I think this movie succeeds on all counts. I think you actually care about Sam and his learning to play the drums and his being able to kiss the little girl of his dreams. I think you actually care about the Prime Minister falling in love with Natalie. I think you actually, I care very much about Colin Firth falling in love with the Portuguese girl. I thought that Hugh Grant's comment that love is all around is accurate. It's all around, and sometimes just for a season. Sometimes it's temporary. Sometimes it's fleeting. Sometimes it's ill-placed, as with Keira Knightley and Andrew Lincoln, where, it may be in another world or another life they could have been in love, but in this particular set of circumstances, it just didn't work out. And for a moment, they indulged and moved on. I think that this movie is a lot deeper than people give it credit for. I agree with you, Jeremy, that it didn't age as well as I was hoping. I think three of the storylines could have been axed completely, and I wouldn't have really cared. I didn't care for the Laura Linney. I never have that storyline. Never cared for the Colin storyline.
Yeah.
And the porn couple. I've actually seen this movie without the porn couple because when they aired on network TV, they cut those scenes, and the movie is actually better paced. It's a faster, better movie. But that all being said, so from a Christmas perspective, from a love perspective, I think it's wonderful. As a romantic comedy, I mean, when you look at giants like Notting Hill, like About Time, this doesn't resonate the same. It's almost like that you didn't get enough of any one character. It was overcrowded, and I would have loved to have it maybe based on 3 different storylines, not 8. And I would have enjoyed the movie much better. All that being said, wrapping all that up, I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. Every time I watch it, I love all the different, all the different triumphs, all the different failures. I love the music. I love Billy Mack. It's hard for me to look at this and go, I watch this every year. Is this a above or below average movie? Like, there are movies that I watch that are just trash, and they're 3s and 4s and 5. This is not that. This is a fun, energetic movie. I watch it every year. My family watches it every year. Hard for me to say it's above a 2.5. So for that, I'm going to give it a 1.75. I think that it's a feel-good first cocktail with definitely some extra shots, but it's a damn good, fun, enthusiastic movie, and it's got a cast to die for. And quite frankly, anything with Alan Rickman is very difficult to score high for me. So that's my score, and I'm sticking to it. When we take all those scores and divide them by 4, Eddie, what does Love Actually get an average rating of?
Richard Curtis
Brandon,
should be on the
yours?
Sean fan page because you saved this fucking movie rating-wise, Sean. Yeah. Go ahead, Ed. Give it to us.
Funny, Brandon. Sean, how do you get last all the time?
Always.
You just somehow
Because you don't know how to fucking put people over, dude.
You know what?
That's your fucking fault.
Sean gives me a little nod on the side that you guys don't see. That's
it, dude.
all right. We get a 2.4175.
Saved it from an average movie, Sean.
2.4175.
Saved it from an average movie.
Jeremiah, where does that put the movie on this list of movies that we have reviewed?
Better than half, Sean. Better than half.
2.4175. 2.4175.
Okay, so we have a new place in our category.
And that is why I give a 0.52.
It's between 47th and 48th, actually. It's our new 47th.
So what movies are worse than Love Actually?
Worse. Or better or worse?
Either one.
What's lower? What's
So
lower?
no, we never know
than
what lower
2.
means, Ed.
Yeah, exactly.
What is worse?
2.4175.
What movies are
What movie
worse
did we
than
like
Love
less?
Actually?
Okay, there we go. Thank you. So, A Quiet Place 2, A Nightmares on Elm Street, Grease, The Hangover, Terminator, A Knight's Tale, Pitch Perfect.
And what movies are better than?
No, I kind of agree with all of those.
The Greatest Showman, North by Northwest, Harry Potter, Home Alone 2, Die Hard, The Rock, John Wick, A League of
Die
Their
Hard.
Own.
How did you guys? Did you all score zeros on Die Hard and I gave it the 5? Because I remember there's no way that should be high.
You're the
Christmas
1%
movie
that
of
does
all
not like it.
You have
Greatest
one
Christmas
person on the planet who doesn't like that movie, and
I
it's
know.
you. One person.
I know.
One person.
Because it had Alan
Greatest
Rickman.
Christmas movie of all time.
That's why.
Oh, goodness gracious.
It's all right. There's a lot of
I don't know.
listeners out there that love Actually, and so they're probably like, "Oh, thank God, thank you so much."
Yeah, thank God Sean swooped in and saved the day. I mean, I didn't even
This is
mention
why-
Rowan Atkinson. That he's a triumph of a character. Anyway, if you enjoyed our review or a fan of the podcast, we ask that you please subscribe wherever you're listening and give us a 5-star review on iTunes. You can find us on Instagram at the Dot Gentleman Podcast. The dot means a lot. You can visit our website at thegentlemanpodcast.com, or if you want to, you can reach out to us by email at hosts with an SHOSTS at thegentlemanpodcast.com. Once again, we just want to thank you for listening as we round out the season 4. We very much are looking forward to our season 5, and starting in the new year. And we just want to thank everyone for listening. This has been a banner year for us. We've gained, many followers and many listeners, and we're doing really good as a podcast. We're very proud of this show, and we owe it all to you, the fans,
Yes.
who come week after week and listen. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Happy holidays to everybody. Happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. Be safe, and really just
Happy
enjoy
holidays.
time with family and friends.
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, everyone. You guys are awesome.
And thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. Cheers,
week.
gentlemen.
Cheers.
You're gonna shatter that glass.